Hello everyone, I am Suranjan Malik. I welcome you to the first video of this series, and today, as I said in the introduction part, I am going to read Arundhathi Subramaniam. The poem I'm going to read today is Recycled. This poem is from our second anthology of poems. The name of the book is Where I Live. This book was published in 2005, and this book is her second anthology of poems. I'm not going to introduce today Arundhati because previously I made a video on Arundhati and I tried to introduce to a certain extent her poetries or her thinking. But let me mention here before beginning to read the poem that in the previous video even I mentioned this that the concept of home and homeland is quite unique and interesting in Arundhati's poetry. Uh, the poem I'm going to read today, Recycled, is about home, and to a certain extent, you can say it is about homeland. Before beginning, let me add one more point also. This poem was written when Arundhati was a Charles Wallace Fellow residing in Scotland in Stirling University, and this particular poem is also printed on a glass wall of Stirling University. Arundhati was Charles Wallace Fellow from 2003 to 4. First, I'm going to read the poem, and after reading it, I will try to analyze it. The poem reads Recycled. Driving through the processes, I see the picture I drew as a 5-year-old in Bombay. A rectangle with two square windows, isosceles roof, smoking chimney, and girl with yellow hair, standing in the driveway, flanked by two flower pots. And there is comfort in knowing what we are so often told, that fancy has wings and dreams come true, even if it takes them years to take root in some corner of a foreign land, that is forever India. So you can see this poem is comparatively shorter than Urdhuti's other poems. If I compare this poem with other poems from Arundhati's book, When God is a Traveler or Love Without a Story, you will clearly see that this poem is shorter in structure or in physical form. This poem consists only two stanzas, and the first stanza is of 8 lines, and the second stanza is of 9 lines, and even the lines of the second stanza are shorter in form, and so the whole poem is of 17 lines without any particular rhyme scheme. The very first line of this poem says that the poet persona or the poet herself was driving through processes, and this real incident has given birth to this poem. And Trosses is a landscape, a wild landscape of of Scotland, and and that a landscape that has given rise to this poem. When she was driving through Trosses, she saw a resemblance with a picture that she has drawn when she was just a child, and the resemblance actually prompted her to write this poem. And the whole first stanza is nothing but a description of that picture, and the picture here is that the poet persona describes is a rectangle with two square windows, isosceles roof, smoking chimney, and a girl with yellow hair standing in the driveway, flanked by two flower pots. So you can clearly see these kinds of pictures uh, we have we all of us have drawn when we were a child, like in the morning scene, a river is flowing, the sun is rising between two high mountains, birds are flying beside the river, a hut is situated with a roof that resembles a triangle, and a road or a path that starts from the door of the house. So you see, these kind of pictures have drawn by all children. So Urduti is no exception. She has also drawn this kind of pictures when she was a child herself, and when she finds uh, that kind of landscape in reality, she starts believing in fancy, in imagination. When we are I mean, when we are young, when we are children, we are encouraged uh, by our parents or older people to imagine more, to fancy more. Even when older people see that kind of drawings, they become happy, and they do not say that this cannot be true, this landscape does not exist in reality. So they do not say that. They only this So they only encourage these kind of things. But when we grow, in the process of growing up, we become more realistic. We forget to dream, we forget to imagine, we forget to uh, fantasize things in a beautiful way. So when Arundhati, a Charles Wallace Fellow in Scotland, suddenly encounters a landscape that resembles her childhood picture, she believes that dreams come true, imaginations or fancies are real. The second stanza is much more important in this poem, and I must say a backbone to this poem. The second stanza reads, "And there is comfort in knowing what we are so often told, that fancy has wings and dreams come true." You see that I said that when we are children, we are encouraged to dream more, to fancy more. But when we grow up, we forget our childhood qualities, and we even forget to imagine or fantasize things in a beautiful way, like a child does. That's why she says, uh, when she encounters the landscape, that there is a comfort in knowing what we are so often told, that fancy has wings and dreams come true, even if it takes them years to take root in some corner of a foreign land that is forever India. Orundhati, a foreigner in a foreign land in Scotland, uh, finds her homeland or home when she finds resemblance with a childhood picture of her own. So this is the literal meaning of this poem. But if we go deeper, we can see that a child, a child imagines things, just like the poet persona imagines things like a world that has no borders, a world that has no restrictions. There is a world that has no biasness, a world that is free, that has no foreign land, that is full of homelands, the world as home, that can be only imagined by a person who is child in heart, who imagines, who dreams, who fantasize things. So the poet persona, in a way, thinks those things and believes that though it might take some time, take long time, dreams may come true. As one of her dreams has come true, that she has seen the landscape she always believed to be false, she has always believed to be a fancy, mere dream. So just like she has found that this is true, she hopes, the poet persona hopes and believes that the landscape that is situated in her mind, the landscape that is free of biasness or ego, that is free of egocentric world or egocentric mindset, that can come true in near future or further future, but it will come true because imaginations or dreams come true. That is the belief of the poet persona here. So no matter if it takes them years to come true. The dreams may come true, that is important. And the thing that is one is drawing in his homeland, in his or her homeland, that might be drawn by someone else in in the in the other part of the world, and that is might be true in some way or other, and that might be reality, what you are thinking of dreams or fancy or imagining to be or thinking to be imagination. So in that way this poem is hopeful and has a positive tone that believes in beliefs and dreams. In this poem the poet persona is seeing her childhood dreams or fantasy is coming alive in reality. That's why in the poem the poet persona thinks, and the poem makes us think. Who knows the dream of a united world, the dream that a world without border, that is full of homelands and without any foreign land, might come alive in future. Who knows? And that's how this poem beautifully and without saying much makes us think and makes us believe in beliefs and also dreams. And that's how her badly drawn childhood picture recycled in a beautiful picture of adulthood. So, just like Ralph Waldo Emerson says that a home is built of love and dreams, this poem somehow believes that the idea of home and homeland is inside one's mind and one's head. If one can dream well, believe and love well, one can find home and homeland even in a foreign land. And just like Salman Rushdie ends his famous essay Imaginary Homeland with a quote from another novel, and the quote says, "For God's sake, open the universe a little more."